Hey everyone, my name is Daniel, and today I want to spend some time talking about TechCon 365. The conference has grown, evolved, and it's been there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I really want to spend because the 2025 year is going to be epic, and there's some neat things that are happening. The conference has grown. There's so much goodies I want to talk about. So stay over here and let's jump in. Instead of me talking a whole lot about this, I want to go ahead and actually bring in someone who can actually give us more information on all of this.
Hello, Danielle. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. It is truly an honor for me because I have seen you, as the audience, and you've been up on the stage, and so now I get to talk to you. Like I'm getting goosebumps over here. I'm really geeking out a little bit. So thank you so much for being over here. I really appreciate that.
Well,
All
the
right.
feeling is mutual.
Oh,
So I
thank
know we've
you.
known each other for many years, but this is awesome opportunity. So
Cool. All right. So, like I said, before we jump in, I want to spend some time talking about you, Liz, because, I've
yeah.
seen and followed you as your big fan, probably your number one fan. But the two things that really stuck out to me, specifically from the conference standpoint, is your 6 years at Microsoft, because you were there as Microsoft, as a product manager expert, subject matter expert. And then the 9 years when you were a professor in tech college, because that's what conference is all about, is to get together and learn. So spend a few minutes and talk a little bit about your past, your career, your passion. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, so I spent 6 years at Microsoft. I had just uh, am going through transition right now away from Microsoft. So I'm no longer employed there, but yeah, I was at a college, a local community college, for a number of years up until and a little bit through the pandemic. A lot of things shifted in higher education during the pandemic, of course. So I am no longer doing the professor at the technical college, but I taught business analysis, project management, agile, and then of course how technology relates to all of those types of things within the Rochester Community and Technical College, and had a great experience doing that for a number of years. And I think that's how I got into kind of doing more speaking events as well. Is I already had the classroom, the workshop, the knowing how to present to an audience, knowing how to connect with an audience and make it really interesting. And I see a lot of those same qualities in many of the speakers that I've come into contact and come into working with over the number of years. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great. And like I said, even on the slide, like I've put in MVP because you were an MVP. And that's what I always say. Like once an MVP, always an MVP. So
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes. And hopefully I'll get the MVP award back. Who
I was just
knows?
gonna ask about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have seen that happen. So cool.
Yeah.
So now let's spend some time talking about, TechCon. So here's just an evolution of TechCon that I like to talk about. And I know you and I have seen it from the SharePoint Fest days. I know you and I have actually come out from the SharePoint side. SharePoint Fest, I have some memories, some good memories with that. But then for a while, it evolved into EduCon, and then it evolved into TechCon 365 because let's face it, technology is growing. It's constantly evolving it. So it was nice to see that this conference has also grown and it's keeping up, from the technology from that standpoint. Anything else you have to share on this one?
Yeah, and it's interesting because while EduCon maybe have kind of as part of that, it wasn't EduCon for very long, but it was EduCon. But the whole idea around that is that the conference organizers have really cemented their place in educating people across many different industries with technology. And so they started out as very much of a learning training organization that has evolved into doing conference types of things with SharePoint Fest and then SP Fest, which was kind of an evolution or a change of the name. And then they eventually went into EduCon, which it had its roots in that same kind of narrative with educating people on technology. And so EduCon wasn't all that much of a stretch. Although a lot of people said, oh, well, this is just for education industry. No, it's not. It's educating you on the technology. And so, yes, it has evolved into TechCon, but then there's another evolution that's happening. And I think, you and I should talk about what's the next evolution for
Ooh,
this as
yes,
well.
yes. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's the TechCon 365, the PowerCon, which really caught my attention because I love so much about Power
Your
Platform.
Power
But
Platform.
then the new kid on the block, which was DataCon. So Liz, I'm going to hand over the DataCon announcement to you.
Yeah, and so here's the thing, like it was TechCon, and then separate tracks, a lot of emphasis on the Power Platform because that was part of Microsoft's evolution, right? And so in order to keep up with how Microsoft is evolving, well, the conference is evolving as well. So now we've got data. Well, okay, what DataCon, what exactly does that mean? Well, we've got things like Fabric, Power BI, SQL, how that integrates with Copilot, and all of the tools that are now automated and intelligent communications that we have across all of these different ecosystems. And instead of trying to force them all into TechCon within kind of the modern work area, we're expanding that into having additional sessions that are focused on a data type of platform. And so all of these strung together makes for one conference. A person doesn't have to choose whether they go to just the Power Platform or just the data. They can choose any of the sessions within really almost three branches of a technology conference. And so a little bit bigger, and different floors, lots of rooms, all of those kinds of things. So we're really looking forward to having lots of people that are interested in a number of different areas and can take full advantage of learning all of the technology stack as a holistic front rather than just a small piece of work, because as you and I both know, Daniel, SharePoint's not just SharePoint anymore, right? So it now evolved into, oh gosh, this is so much more and so much bigger. And so how do we represent that not only for our community, but also for the conference and giving our learners what they really are truly asking for? So
Yeah. So I started off with this, but I think it's a good point to come back over here because there's two this year. There's one in Seattle, Washington again in June. And then there's the one in Atlanta, Georgia, which is actually only a 3-hour driving distance from me. So I'm excited about that one too. And I've
yeah.
always loved the both plays, but you have anything to talk about these two?
Yeah, so the Seattle, Washington one is going to be where we have the three types of events: the TechCon, the PowerCon, the DataCon,
And
right?
the other,
Yes.
I mean, to interject, but are the rumors true that this time it's going to be in the new shiny conference room?
Yes, it is. It's going to be in the
Yes.
new Shiny Conference Center.
This
Yes.
conference center. Okay,
Yes.
good.
So if you're familiar with Seattle, around the 8th and Olive area of the, downtown Seattle area, very, very nice, brand new conference areas. They held Ignite there a couple of years ago, right before it was even available to the public.
Wow.
So I'm very much looking forward to that. It's not going to be at that same conference center that it has been in the past. So if you're brand new to the conference, of course, it's not going to, be anything, different for you. But if you've been there in the past, and we have lots and lots of people that come year after year to the different events in the different cities. So if you've been there in the past, it's a little bit of a different location, but not too far in terms of walking and, getting around and all those types of things. But yeah, we're going to be in the brand new shiny area. So looking forward to that.
I heard great things about this one because I missed the Ignite of last year, and I heard that the Ignite also was in this the upgraded one, a conference place, and I heard such good announcements about that. and the fact that our TechCon 365 is also going to be over there. That's like, you guys are stepping up, man. You're keeping up with all the technology anyway, but you make
Yes.
sure that you're also, as good on all the presentation piece of it, part of it, but the locations, because let's face it, it matters. It really does matter. So we
Well,
need.
and Atlanta is a new location for us. So never done Atlanta before. Done lots of other cities, and that type of thing. Like I was telling you, Daniel, it's my 12th year doing this particular conference and speaking at this conference. So I've been into Atlanta many times otherwise and love the city of Atlanta, but this will be the first time that we're doing this conference. So traditionally we have one that is on the West Coast, typically in Seattle. We also have one that's on the East Coast, which has typically or traditionally been Washington, D.C. And then typically we have one in the Midwest, which, has been Chicago, it's been Dallas, that type of thing. But Atlanta is a brand new spot for us. So when I first saw they came out with Atlanta, Georgia, I was like, oh, yes, that's awesome. And then I saw the dates and I went, oh, it's really hot there in Atlanta during that time. But here's the thing with people in the South, they knew how to do air conditioning very, very well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
August it's a great time, to travel for, conferences and all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit before school begins, hopefully. Although I do know some people that are like, transitioning kids into school that same week and that type of thing, because they're starting in August. But for me, from Minnesota, we don't start until September usually with school
Yeah.
type of stuff. So
And
yeah.
I firsthand know about conferences that Atlanta, Georgia place and the location where we're having it. I mean, there's been some big conferences. Microsoft Business Application Summit was over
Yep.
there. There was an
Yep.
Ignite
Yes.
over there. So it's a tried and tested place. So I'm really
Yes.
excited to see TechCon, PowerCon, and DataCon also over there, because I think it's going to be really successful. So,
I am too. I know my first Ignite was in Atlanta when they had it when they held it there, and it was huge. And so I'm looking forward to like maybe a little bit of a smaller audience with the TechCon 365. It's not 30,000 people, so it's a little bit easier to get around and make those connections with different people, especially the speakers that happen over the evolution of a regular conference week
yeah.
anyway. So
So, since we're talking about the conference, let's just talk a little bit about all the content that we're going to cover. And
yeah.
since the Seattle one is up next, I just thought we'll talk a lot more about that. So, because this is TechCon 365, PowerCon, and also the DataCon, look at all the content which is going to be covered over here. There's literally something for anybody, kind
Yeah.
of a thing. From Microsoft 365, which includes Copilot, Power Platform, which is I'm a big fan of that. SharePoint, which everybody loves. Azure, I like that piece because there are always those pieces which don't fall into any of the Microsoft 365 or in the Power Platform. They fall inside Azure. And the great example is SQL, like Azure SQL is one of them. And then AI. So I love, Liz, all the content that's going to be covered over here, which kind of echoes what you just said before, is that, it's three different tracks, TechCon 365, DataCon, and PowerCon, but it's still one conference. And this speaks of the volume of content that you all are covering.
Yeah, somewhere in the realm of over 220 different sessions, 2 days of workshops, 3 days of sessions. There's going to be 3 different keynotes. So there's going to be a Microsoft 365 keynote, a Power Platform keynote, as well as the DataCon keynote, and some very, very special guests that I'm not going to reveal. You'll have to, tune into some of the marketing to see when those keynote sessions are going to be announced. But I'm very, very excited. And yeah, lots and lots of great sessions. The DataCon will have sessions out hopefully next week.
Okay.
So, the first week in March is where we're looking to really announce all of the agendas and that type of thing. For DataCon specifically, the PowerCon and the TechCon 365 has already been announced. So all of those are out and ready to go on the website. And by the way, something that new that we did on the website just recently is any of the workshop speakers. As you know, Daniel, we have an opportunity for those workshop speakers to do a little introduction video on what they were going to be covering in the workshop. And that is now on the website. So you can
Okay.
look at, oh, what is the speaker going to be covering? Who is the speaker? All of those kinds of things, and be able to kind of familiarize yourself a little bit with some of the content, how the speaker interacts with the audience and all those types of things.
Great.
So
Yeah.
look for those as well.
And for the folks who are watching the website, which Liz was talking about, I've put that in the description below, so you can go ahead and access that and take a look at it. But yeah, those little video snippets that a lot of us speakers have given gives actually a good overview of all the content that I'll be covering.
Yeah.
About these conferences, like we spoke about the content that's covered, and Liz alluded that to a little bit about that, so we can talk about it. Like, this is all that is there in the conference. There's pre-conference workshops. 3 keynotes that she talked about, so many sessions. But I also like to talk to you about these things, Liz. Like, I remember last year when we did it in Dallas. I think that was the first time we did the roundtable discussions. And Liz, I loved it because there was just a bunch of us techie people sitting and talking about our real world scenarios. Sharing ideas was my best part because I learned so much from people out there. This is not just a nice tailored storytelling type of a thing. This was people coming in and saying, hey, this was what we did. It works. We tried that. It didn't work a whole lot, but getting ideas from each other. I really liked that roundtable discussions, and I'm excited to do the same thing over here. And then,
yeah. Very low tech on the roundtable discussions. Like, you're not talking PowerPoints, you're not talking audio or anything like that. You're just talking like a table. And it's something that, we as speakers have done for years in the speaker room, just sitting around a table and talking to each other about, gosh, I have this problem and help me, kind of resolve it. And it's the whole group gets involved with trying to offer up suggestions and resolve. And so then the speaker almost becomes a facilitator during those roundtable discussions, making sure that everybody's all included and that we can build our networks a little bit bigger because we have this smaller roundtable discussion. So.
Yeah, that's you kind of nailed it. That's exactly what we did. There was I attended the All Things Power platform, which also includes Copilot Studio. It was literally a roundtable. I remember we all at that time mine was in the afternoon. They had just served us some really nice dessert. So we picked up our plates of dessert, came in, and we were talking about all things. Power Copilot had been released across the Power platform. So how are people handling that? The feedback which people were giving us, and each of them handling their own administrative things. It was so neat because that's literally what happened. For myself, I remember there was Andy Honeycutt, Paul Stark. We were just facilitating. That's all we did. And everybody just went around, introduced themselves, shared some of their feedback. That was personally, I really enjoyed that one, and I'm excited to do that again. The expo hall is always a great place to hang out. There's a lot of good swag that gets given away. But again, talking to the vendors who have tools and solutions, which many a times you don't even know you need. But when you go and talk to them, they say, oh, wow, I could have used that yesterday, kind of a thing. And I really like, and I tell people that if you're kind of, oversaturated with content, that's fine. Take a break, just don't walk away from my session. Stay in my session. I'm just kidding.
Or mine.
Exactly. But if you're a little saturated, go walk around this expo hall. Literally talk to people and just get an idea. The swag that they give away itself is pretty fantastic. It'll fill up your backpack. But again, you kind of see things out there that you actually needed, yesterday, kind of a thing. And then I know your favorite because I've actually seen you in the AMA panel up over there. That's also really good. And then the one which I also do is Ask the Experts. So AMA is Ask Microsoft Anything, and ATE is Ask the Experts. Two really great things. You want to share a little bit of your experience on AMA?
Yeah, so both actually are great opportunities to get answers to kind of your questions, right? AMA is a little bit more of a public forum. So going back into like a large room and asking Microsoft those questions. So could be roadmap items, could be new features, could be, things that only really the product group or, product marketing has a good understanding about. It might be something that you heard about either at the conference or on a blog or read it on the tech community or something of that sort, and just wanted to get some clarification on those types of things. And then the Ask the Experts is still more of a one-on-one, but here there's people that can help you troubleshoot, can help you solve, can help give you advice, and many of these people do consulting as their day job. So you might find, somebody that can help you, in your real world, when you go back and take what you learned from the conference and bring it back into your organization. And they might be, somebody to contact to help, bridge some of those types of learnings into your organization as well. So both of those are great opportunities. If you have a real world problem, we do solve real world, very epic problems
Yeah.
all the time.
You
Yes.
know, and I'll double click on that one, real world problems. Now, I remember again the last one at Dallas. Liz, there were twice where I was talking to people, they were sharing their problem, and I just said, heck, fire up your laptop. Let's just take a look at that right now. And literally, one of them she did, it was a Copilot Studio related question, and we were able to troubleshoot that together. And she like, the smile on her face was just, something I wish I would have copied it and taken a picture of, because right there, like, it literally took all of 15 minutes. And I know ATE, we are usually there for 45 minutes to an hour, but that's the whole reason why we are there. You've got those type of technical questions, like you said, one-on-one time, whatever is in your mind, bring it over there and we can have a discussion. I love
Yeah.
ATE. Really good things over there.
Yeah, that's what inspires me the most, is being able to see those people that just need some help, and you're there, but you can see the joy and the delight on their face after they have discovered what and being able to put that into a real situation like that, and you get that it's an injection, and it gets
Injection. Yeah.
it very much gets us, it not only inspires us, but it keeps us coming back. We keep doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you are a busy person. So, Liz, thank you so much for taking the time
Thank you.
to have this discussion, to give us a good idea of at least the two big conferences that we are aware of. I hope all of you who are watching that at least you plan to attend one of these, both if you can, but attend one of these. Look forward to meeting you over there in person. You will have the opportunity to meet Liz in person as well, which is great. And everything we said, the website, I put that in the link below over here. I actually have one of my discount codes. I'll put that downstairs as well. Feel free to leverage it. You can save up to $100 on that. And in closing, Liz, any final comments? Wow factors.
This is going to be the biggest one yet.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not only in terms of attendees, but in terms of the conference schedule, the vendors, the new location, all of those kinds of things. 2025 is going to be a big year for TechCon
I can
365.
feel it.
So
I can
I'm
feel
looking
it.
forward to it. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much once again for your time, and I look forward to seeing you over there in person.